Yo, what's going on, man? This is True Dads coming at you. I want to talk to you today about the id and the ego and how that concept relates to us in terms of our mindset and our relationships. So, man, you all know Sigmund Freud kind of came up with this idea, the id versus the ego. The id is that primitive desire to kind of get what you want. Like I see it, I want it. I want that cake. I want that woman. I want that man. I want that primitive desire. Like I want to get what I want. And then the ego is that consciousness that's like, nah, you can't really do that. You can't really get that. It's not making any sense. I'll tell you, for example, I knew this one lady. She wanted a baby so bad. She was chasing men down left and right. This lady was in her 40s, man. She was like in her early 40s, pushing, trying to get a baby. She was chasing down every man she could think of, trying to like, hey, I need a baby. I need a baby. So that was the id. That was her desire. Not thinking that really you should be having your babies in your 20s, to be honest. Um, I've had patients that when they're 35, you're supposed to already be getting genetically tested because your baby has an increased risk of deformities or some sort of medical problems. So you want to have your babies early, and then you have a problem. That's why biologically, uh, God allow us to only have the women. Your eggs are only living so long. Your eggs start to die out every time a woman has her menstruation cycle. Every time she's in menses, she's losing eggs, and those eggs, you only get so many eggs at birth. Men is different. We get a lot of sperm. We can shoot sperm way up into the 60s, 70s. As a matter of fact, back to the story, this homegirl, she in her early 40s, she finally got this 70-year-old dude to give her a baby. This 70-year-old dude still can produce a baby. So he kicked out the baby. She's 40, and ever since she had this baby, she's been having not the. Thankfully, I mean, well, the baby hasn't been having a lot of complications, just like a little bit of character issues. I think the child's on Ritalin and this and that because the ADHD, but that's not like a major problem. But the mama has major problems now. So you do see you do see cases where women, for example, older women have babies and they're fine. But that's the ones that you see like advertised on TV and all this because they want your money. They want you to do the testings. They want you to do the in vitro fertilization and all that kind of stuff. But the reality is, not all the stories are success stories. So, uh, what was the point of that? The point is the id versus the ego. Sometimes just because you want something doesn't mean it's right for you. A lot of men up here trying to push up with these women that they ain't right. They not right. And you trying to get with them because you figure like, man, I just want her. But she's not right. She gonna bring you down. She gonna tear you down. So just because you want her don't mean it's right for you to try to get with her. A lot of these young women looking at this brother, man, you know what? I like him. He's cute. Yeah, but he ain't got no job. He's in and out of jail. He ain't about nothing. He ain't going nowhere. He ain't been nowhere in the last 5 years. He ain't gonna be nowhere in the next 5 years. Like, why are you trying to have seed with him? Why are you trying to have babies with him? Why are you trying to start a life and create a life with this guy and he ain't about that life? It's because you want him. And so we gotta learn how to control our desires. We can't just get something because we want it. I know a lot of cats tell me like, man, I want to be a millionaire. I'm like, all right, so okay, yeah, that's a good goal, man. Even though right now a million is not even that much, but all right, million is a good goal. How's your portfolio? My part who? Man, what kind of job you got? Oh man, I'm over here, I'm in shoes. So I'm thinking, okay, you manufacturing shoes, you producing shoes, you're a part of a consulting group. Nah, I flip sneakers. I get shoes and I flip them. So I get shoes from a store and I shine them up and flip them, or I get them at a wholesale. I get them at the outlets and I tack like 30, 40, $50 on it and I flip them. That's not a shoe business. Now, not knocking you for your desire to have a business, but what you need to have is structure. You need to have frame. You need to have some kind of foundation. And I think a lot of it too is we got a lot of kids now that haven't been raised without fathers. So that's why you got true dads. That's why you got your dad talking to you right now. You need structure, you need foundation. Yes, business is a good thing. Yes, trying to have a baby is a beautiful thing. Yes, trying to get in a relationship with somebody is a beautiful thing. Yes, but you got to balance that between not what you feel all the time, but what you know. You got to take a step back and say, you know what? I may feel like this is my way to success, but I got to know this might not be my way to success. You got to think things through. You need some counseling. You need some direction. Too many times, a lot of us is walking around, we ain't got no direction. We just living and existing and dreaming. And the problem is a lot of us have been told, especially me, Generation X, a lot of us in our young age, we've been told, to name it and claim it, nab it and grab it, believe it can happen. And those are all good, but you got to have some structure behind it. You got to have a plan. You got to have a purpose. You got to have something, a checklist, man. Make goals. You have to have where you could be like, what's my goal today? What's my goal this week? What's my goal this month? You have to know how to get to where you want to go and then go through those steps to get there. You need to bust a 60-hour work week. You need to put money in your 401ks. You need to invest in your body, getting to the gym, getting into your health. You need to have mentors. You need to have some sort of structure to get you focused, because I see you got the energy, you got the desire, the id, but you're struggling with your ego, because in the back of your mind, you're like, you know what, all this is good and dandy, all this feels good, but I'm looking at the clock and years are passing by. Let me tell you, I know some people now that I knew them when they was 21, now they 26, 5 years. Many of them are worse off than they were 5 years ago, or in the same spot. You can look at that same person and look back 10 years. In the last 10 years, they're in the same spot. If a person in the last 5 years and the last 10 years is in the same spot, it's a good chance in the next 5 years and the next 10 years, they'll still be in that same spot. So you could kind of look at somebody's future by looking at somebody's past. And if you look at their past and they're not really going nowhere, it's a good chance, not saying always, but it's a good chance they're not going away in the future. So you got to look at somebody's progression. You got to see how they're flowing. You got to see how their energy is. You got to see what they're about. And you have to judge it on that. Now, you can't get with, for example, in relationships, you can get with people that got potential. But you got to see that there's a pattern of growth in that person. You're not always going to get with somebody that's established, that's got it. You're going to see a pattern of growth. So just understand that. Man, I could go on forever about this, but I want you to get the idea that there's a battle in our mind, and it's called different things, from theology, from philosophy, from psychoanalysis. So we just grab Freud, because a lot of you all may have studied him in school. The id versus the ego, and then there's the super ego. That's that holy consciousness that oversees all. But the idea of the id and the ego is that internal struggle that we have, saying that we want something, but is that thing that we want really what we do, really what's good for us? And I think that at the end, that's what you got to look at. Anyway, man, I'm just rambling, but this is True Dads, man. Hit me up, hit the like button, holler at your boy later.